So welcome back guys, today we're going to talk about 6 easy attack modifiers to work with. We'll start with these 6 because they are simple, they are cheap, they don't need an entire air force or something to use, you just need to know them and then you can use them effectively in combat. We'll go through every attack modifier but we won't do it in this video. We'll have a couple of short videos just so you don't need to watch these 30, 50, 60-minute long videos about land combat. We'll divide it and make it easier. So we'll start with these 6 that you really need to know starting off with. But why would you want to know everything? Yeah, it's because how the math works in this game. If you have 6 10% modifiers, the logical thing would be to suppose that they give you 60% in extra attack values, but they don't. They add up 10% times 10% times 10% and so forth, as you see on the screen. So 6 times 10% modifiers give you 77, 78 in attack modifier. For every new modifier you add onto that, it will just start to expand exponentially. So that's what you want to get to. But we need to start somewhere and we'll start here. But I just want to give you a quick preview. What would happen if you have 15 modifiers giving you 10% each? 15 modifiers, 10% each, put up your soft attack value by 410%. It's huge. It would make your 500 soft attack unit attack with 2000 soft attack. And this is something I will get up to regularly in games, so it's not at all impossible, but you need to know all the modifiers to really use them to your advantage. But just imagine, if you're quite new to the game or don't understand the modifier system, next game you play, instead of going in with a meager 50% or 40% attack value modifier, you will come there meeting your opponents with 400%. You would just be slaughtering your enemies. No one would see that coming. So watch this till the end so you really understand how to use this to your advantage. But let's start off with these 6. So we start off simple. I just want to address this because I've seen players not training their troops. They think they are wasting equipment or something. Always train your troop. You need that first 20% that this gives. It's a perfect base and it costs almost nothing. The equipment you throw away for training is nothing compared to that 20% extra that you're gaining in attack values. Pushing out troops early might be needed sometimes, but you really don't want to do that if you can avoid it. That minus 10% will really crash the equations and really make your troops strike a lot less hard than they could have if they were trained. And just look at this one. If you have trained them from the beginning and they start gaining experience and go up to veteran status, you really start off with 50%. That multiplier will go up exponentially with everything else. So always train your troops. That's the first thing. So the next thing I want to show you is the spy game. Because if you have spies, you build your intelligence agency. You don't need to build everything. Just build one. One. So you get out that first spy and send them to the enemy you're gonna fight the most, and they will start building intelligence in that country, and they will give you a modifier in combat. Looking at these Soviet troops, they have a modifier of 11.6%. The total maximum you can have is 15%, but just 5 civs for 1 month, and you can push up 15% extra modifiers for almost non-investment at all. So go for an intelligent agency, make sure you have one spy, send them to build a network where you're gonna fight, and you might give at least 5, 10, or even 15% in another modifier. And for those of you who've never played the intelligence game, what you do, you go into the agency, just build something here. I would go with an army department, or why not a localized training center just to give you 2 spies at once, or a passive defense if you think anyone will spy at you. You get that spy, you use the spy, you make this build intelligence network, and put it as close to the front line as you can. Otherwise, if you have more, put them somewhere in the country and you will build intelligence. So we'll continue to look at commanders. Commanders gives you attack values both from the field marshal and from the general. So looking at this field marshal, this is a great field marshal, giving you 17.5% extra attack. Of course, all these skills are important, but these attack skills are extremely important. So you should be looking for the attack skills when assigning field marshals and when assigning your generals. 3% is pretty standard, but these together give you almost 25% just from the commanders in extra attack values. So commanders and field marshals will give you a lot of attack modifiers, and I would say that if you have 25% or something like that from your field marshal and general, that is really, really good if you can go up to those kind of numbers. But everything counts in this game. So make sure you choose your generals and field marshals carefully so you get that exponential effect from attack values even in this aspect of the game. So the next thing we're going to look at is country modifiers. Country modifiers can also give you a lot. So country modifiers comes both from war support, where you attack more on core territory, but you also have a lot coming from the military staff. If we look at this player, he used division attack in his high command. He also used infantry attack and special forces attack in his commanders. So these together will really, really push up that attack values for infantry and especially special forces. So special forces will benefit the most from these because they got both the infantry bonus and they get the special forces bonus, and of course they get that division attack bonus from the high commander as well. Going into country is also a lot of these spirits. So these spirits can both be something you start out with or something you gain through decisions or national focuses. And if you really, really want to get more value from your national focuses, you can always search for attack here. This search field is something that a lot of people don't know about, but it's the best thing I found when thinking about the build I'm gonna go through and the attack values I can gain. So if we look at this, we can find a lot of attack values that you can get from these focuses. This is someone who gives you division attack on core territory. So we can always look for other things. This is land night attack, so we can find a lot of modifiers here for your attack values. This gives cavalry attack and so forth. So if you want more attack values, go in and search in your focus tree and see if you find something there that you really can use to get up the country part of the modifiers for attack values. So the next aspect of the game is entrenchment. I really love entrenchment. I love defensive walls. They don't always work, but it's really, really fun to build a hard defensive wall. And when you build that, you need entrenchment. And entrenchment starts off with, in the template, you have 0 entrenchment when you start, but you can always give yourself a pioneer battalion that gives you a lot more entrenchment. So that's the first step to push up entrenchment. When you've done that, you can always go to the text screen and you can take up your entrenchment when you take up your support equipment. So when you have your pioneers and you have your techs decided, you can always use doctrines to push it up even further. Usually Grand Battle Plan is the best doctrine to push up entrenchment. So that's a key if you really want a lot of entrenchment. Might not be the best thing if you want the highest attack value, but it's one of the best things. Because with entrenchment, you can always use your commanders, and something that you can do here is going with a defensive doctrine, which push up your max entrenchment with another 30%. And even more things to do with your field marshal is making him an entrenchment expert. That's extremely, extremely valuable if you're going for a defensive wall. Having an entrenchment expert pushes up that entrenchment even further. It's pretty easy to do because all field marshals can be defensive doctrine, so you can make that field marshal an entrenchment expert. And you also have the entrenchment specialist here in the military high command, so look for that if it's possible. Having an engineer is not that common to start off with, but if you can make an engineer of one of your generals, that will really push up it even further. And a great entrenchment will be something like 50 to 80%. So imagine that, having 80% extra going in for these calculations as we talked to before. You could make your wall almost impenetrable if you don't have a really, really effective opponent hitting it. So the last modifier for this video is planning. Planning is easy to do. You just make a front line with the set button and you use attack order with the X button, and they will start planning up their attack, and the planning will be the modifier. Looking here, we have a great planning bonuses for this country, so you have 69% planning if they go up to that part. So planning is crucial to do. There's other ways to do planning without front lines, circumventing the mechanics, but it's not allowed in our community yet. We're discussing it, but I know a lot of people use it, but that's why I show this version of planning. So planning is crucial when you attack. And there's a lot of way of getting that planning up. You can always look at the doctrines, which doctrine gives you the most planning. Grand Battle Planning is usually one of the best ways to get up your planning. This gives you max planning plus 10%, meaning that the max bonus you can have will be 10% higher. And as you know, you want those bonuses going up as high as possible to really get that exponential effect and hit extremely hard in the end. So you have doctrine. You can also use like spirits to get the planning speed up, because planning speed is extremely important, because it takes time to get this modifier up. So you need to wait, and you usually don't want to wait when you're attacking. So planning speed is perfect to really make sure that this modifier goes extremely high. And as I said before, go in here and search for planning. If you spell it correctly, search for planning, and you will find all focuses that has planning in them. So if you just look at the Stavka here, you will have max planning plus 10% again. So if you want a lot of planning and you have the micro to really plan your attacks, go for high planning, and you will really give your opponent a hard time. And you also have the generals and you have the field marshals that also gives you more planning speed. So you get that planning bonus as quickly as possible so you can punch through. So that was the last modifier for this video, but we need to look at the calculations once more. If you're aware of these modifiers and you use them to your advantage, you won't get 10% from each. You will have 5 modifiers giving you way more. And if you look at the values here on the screen, you will see that instead of getting 50% extra, we're getting 117% extra, 170% extra attacks incoming at the enemy, almost tripling your attacks. So using this is crucial to understanding the game. And I'm gonna remind you that this is the first 5. We'll have more videos coming out for a lot of more modifiers. There's 16 modifiers we'll go through. So just imagine if you can get 170% from 5, the next time they will exponentially grow from the next modifiers. So you need to let this sink in and understand how the modifier system works, so you really focus on that for your next game. But with that said, I hope you subscribe, I hope you like the video, tell me if you want more of these kind of contents or anything else, and we'll see if we can make that happen. Subscribe to the channel, and I will see you guys next time.